guys, welcome to my little paintbrush. I'm so excited you're here to paint with me today. My name is Miss Sarah, and together we are going to be painting an Easter bunny. Now, a couple things to keep in mind. Miss Sarah's rules at the studio still apply. Remember that we are all unique, we paint differently, and that is what makes this world so beautiful. So while you are painting with me, be kind to yourself and enjoy the process, okay? So today with this Easter bunny, we're gonna start off with a big brush. Any big brush works. You just want something that will fill space pretty smoothly and easily. And as you're making this bunny, keep in mind, you can paint this whole thing without a crown, or you can add a crown at the end. So have fun with your colors. You can mix it up. You don't have to do it exactly like me. So here's my palette. I took all of the paint and situated it on my plate like this because I need to mix my white with colors and I want to make sure they're easily accessible. Now with our bunny, mine is going to be purple, but see how you have different colors to choose from, right? So if you want to make your bunny a different color, you can mix colors together or choose a different one to go with, okay? First thing we're going to do is take our big brush here, rinse it in water, loosen up the bristles, okay, and then let's just tap it off gently and wipe it on our napkin. If your paint seems a little bit tight, if it's a little thick, you can add water to it. That helps a lot when we're using acrylics, okay? So here's our bunny. First thing we're gonna do is paint our bunny the color we want, okay? I want mine to be a really, really, really light purple. So I'm only going to take a touch of my purple here and add it to my white. It's just a little bit. I want it to be super light. You can paint yours a lot darker if you want by adding more of that purple to your paint, right? You can add more purple to make it darker. I want it really light. So I'm gonna start painting my head now. Let's do that to start getting our muscles warmed up. Our paint muscles, we gotta get them moving, right? So we'll start with the head. Just fill in the whole thing with our really light color. The reason I like to start light is because I want the side of my bunny, all the edges, to be darker than the color I chose for my head. So I'm gonna keep it super light. And a trick is to keep, something I enjoy doing, is keeping the center of my head lighter than the rest of my head. That way, all the focus is drawn towards the center of my head. See that? So sometimes I'll add a little more white to the middle just to make it a little brighter. All right, make sure you flatten all your paint so you don't have any drips. And it's completely covered. We're also going to paint our paws, so you can go ahead and do that too. You can see I can still tell where my outline is. You don't have to worry too much about covering that. You can still see it through your paint. And come around here. Okay, now we're gonna paint the other foot. Make sure we fill it in. Okay, so we have all of our head and our feet covered. Our paws, right? Not feet, our paws. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing with our ears. Now remember the center of our ear is white, right? So I'm just going to start at the bottom of my ear and wrap around the edges and leave the center white. If you fill all that in, it's okay, not a big deal. You can go back over it with white layer. But I'm gonna try and leave it white by just painting around the edge. And that gives me a white center for the inside of the ear, right? Okay, so we have that ear done. Let's go to the next. Start at the base of our head, come up and around our ear, leaving that center white. Okay, and both ears will be different. That's what makes it so cute and fun, is to not have the same pattern every time. I'm gonna go all the way around there again. Make sure you have all of it covered and leave the center white. Okay, now your ear goes right off the canvas, right? My canvas is a little bigger than yours. So mine has more of the ear on my canvas than you do. So as you come around here, you can wrap the edge of your canvas. So reach over to the side and paint the edge of your canvas as well. Same with your feet or your paws right down here. You can paint the bottom of your canvas too, and the bottom of your head, so it wraps all the way around. We like to do that in my little paintbrush. It finishes off our paintings. Okay, now that my bunny is completely covered in my really light purple, I'm going to use the same brush to float the edges. Okay, now there's two different ways you can do this. You can float the edges like me, so I'm going to take my flat brush and add a little bit of purple just to the corner. See that? Just to the very corner of my brush. And I'm going to follow the edge of my bunny all the way around. You have to kind of slow down to float that. But you can do this with your big flat brush or a medium flat. Okay, all the way around the head. Or I'm going to show you another way to do this. If we have some younger artists that feel the floating is a little too challenging, all you have to do is use a detail brush like this, right? This little tiny one. Okay, you can use a detail brush and put some of that purple on it and outline. So instead of floating, you can outline all of your bunny with a small detail brush, okay? I'm gonna float mine, but if it's easier for you to outline it, go for it. That works perfectly well too. They're just different. They just have different looks about them. So I'm gonna go ahead and float my little paws too with the purple along the edge, just like that. The goal is to have the purple fade out as you go. So if you notice, it kind of starts to fade away from the edge, right? So that's the goal. Here we go. We're going to get that paw, and then we're going to go over to the other one and do the same thing. Make sure that dark purple is against your traced outline. Go all the way around. I'm trying not to pick up my brush as I do these paws. That's what gives us a smooth result. Okay, it does take some practice, so be nice to yourself as you're practicing to figure this out. Okay, there we go. So now that we have the head and the paws done, we're going to do the same thing to our ears. I'm putting a little bit of purple on the edge of my brush, and we're going to go around here all the way up and around. And yours goes right off the edge of the canvas. Mine doesn't. Okay. Let's go around the other side with that purple against the ear. There we go. Just let it fade out as we go. Let's do this side as well. Do your other ear. See how I'm trying to go straight up without picking up my brush? That's the idea when you're floating. You want to try and not pick up your brush as you go. Okay, we're going to go around the top as well, all the way around and back down. Okay. Once you have the outside of your ear done, I'm going to go against my white as well. So the inside, just a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit of purple on my brush, and we're just going to follow the edge of our white, the inside of our ear there. See that? And by doing that, you help the white really stand out more. It draws attention to it. See that? It doesn't have to be really dark and perfect on that outline. We're just giving it enough to show it off a little bit. I'm going to come all the way around. Put a little more on my brush. Make sure your brush isn't too dry when you're floating, okay? If you feel like it's not laying down very well and the paint is too stiff, just add a little bit of water to your brush. That'll take care of it for you. Okay, so at this point, you have your entire bunny outline done. Okay, and you can decide if you want to put a flower crown on or not, because now we're going to do the background and then start on the flower crown and the face. If you don't want to do the flower crown, you can do your background and go straight to putting the bunny's face on. Okay, you don't even have to do that flower crown. So let's rinse our brush really well here. Make sure it's clean. Okay. Because we're moving on to a new color. So my brush is all clean. It's ready to go. My background is green. Your background might be a different color. Maybe you chose a different color. But we want to add white to any color we choose, okay, for our background. So I'm going to pick up some white here and mix it in with my green. I'm really going to lighten it up. Give it that Easter color, right? A lighter green color. And I'm going to get some yellow too right here, just a little bit on the edge, and add it to my green. If you want it to be a little more limey, which I do. I like adding yellow to my green. It's kind of fun that way. Okay, once you like your color, you can go ahead and put it on your canvas. We're going to brush up and down. I like to start on the very edge and work my way towards my bunny. This is where you can also paint the side of your canvas. So right over here on the side, you can paint it green as well and wrap it. Okay, but we're gonna put this green on around our bunny. One thing I love to do while I'm putting my background on is add white to my brush. So I'll come over here to my pile and put white on the corner. See that? Just a big chunk of white, and I like to blend it in so I get those white streaks. And if you put the white towards your bunny, your green will fade out a little bit and it adds a glow towards your bunny, which draws attention to it. Keeps your edges darker and your paint lighter as it gets closer to your bunny. See that? Okay, and if you get any streaks in your paint, leave them. That's awesome. I love getting white streaks in my paint. If you don't love it as much, just keep brushing over it. It'll blend them right out. Okay, let's do the other side. Put that green on. Make sure you have enough water in your paint. If you feel like it's not covering your canvas very well, you might need a little bit of water to fill in all those little white spots, right? I'm going to add water to mine and keep going. So as I go up and down, I'm going to get some more white on the corner, close to my bunny, and blend that white in around the edges. See that? Keep pulling away from it and let it fade out all the way around. And come around this area, near the paw. We're just going to be really careful not to touch our bunny, right? So you've worked really hard on that purple or whatever color you chose. But if you do end up touching your bunny a little bit, it's okay. No big deal. But we do have to slow down. Okay, and I'm going to leave those little streaks in my painting and let them be. All right, let's paint the top of our bunny now. Up here at the top. I'm going to start at the top and work my way down. Make sure you wrap the top of your canvas too. You see how my brush strokes are going up and down? Okay, towards my bunny. I'm not going side to side, we're going up and down so that our brush strokes point towards our bunny. Okay, and we want our bunny to have all the attention. So I'm going to make sure my brush strokes are going that direction. Up and down. Get the sides, and you're going to reach the sides of your canvas here. While you're at it, Now I'm going to add some white to the corner of my brush again, right here. And put the white in as I get closer to my bunny to get those light streaks. Now, if you are putting a crown on your bunny, you don't need to worry too much about what it looks like right here at your head because we're putting a crown right there. But if you are not, you want to make sure you take your paint all the way to the very edge of your head right there to finish it off, okay? Let's go all the way around our ear. Make sure we blend it out. Okay, got that ear done. Keep going up and down, blend that in. Here we go around this ear. All the way around. And keep blending that white back and forth. I'm going to leave some of these streaks showing, going up away from my bunny. That helps to show where those brush strokes are. Okay, we're wrapping it. There we go. Okay, so we have our bunny all finished here and our background ready to go. So we can start filling in the detail works on our bunny. Now you want to make sure you brush out any drips that you might have right now so it can start drying. Okay, so if you have any drips in your background, take your brush really quick and just brush them out. Okay, I'm going to rinse my brush now because I like my background and I feel like it's all covered really well. So we're going to rinse. Make sure your brush is super clean before we switch colors, okay? Double check it. So we need this super clean. I'm going to switch brushes now to a smaller flat brush. Any size will do. You just want something a little smaller that will fit in your ears right here. Okay, so mine is a smaller medium flat brush. I'm going to use this one to put my pink in. Okay, so we have our pink here on our canvas or our palette, not my canvas, my palette, and I'm going to get some white and mix it in with my pink. I want a really light pink, really light. Okay, so just use a little bit of your pink at a time here so you can test your paint and make sure you like the color. More white will obviously make it lighter, right? And if you want it a little darker, just add more pink. Okay, here we go. So the way we're going to add the pink to our ears is by brushing up away from our head. So I'm going to start here at the very tip of my head and just kind of flick it up. Okay, so I'm pressing down and then I'm flicking up and letting it fade out. You can make it as high as you want. I didn't go too high, kind of left it just like that. Okay, and I'm going to go to the other ear, start at the base of your ear and pull up. Just let it fade away. You kind of want to keep them both a little bit different, right? So they're not exactly the same. But see, just have that little bit of pink in there. Okay, and then we're going to add, let's see, I'm going to wipe off my brush. Okay, and then we're going to add some cheeks to our bunny while we have pink on our brush. And I'm going to put a little bit of white on the corner, just like that. Okay, the reason we're putting our pink on first is our eyes kind of go over our rosy cheeks, okay? So you're going to have some pink on your brush, just like this. And we need to figure out where you want your cheeks to go. Mine are right above each of my paws. Okay, we kind of space them out pretty far apart. And my white is going to face the middle and my pink is on the outside, okay? And we're going to make a little circle with our brush with that white in the middle. Here we go. You can go right around like that. Whoop. Really light. We don't want it too dark. Okay. But if you want rosier cheeks, just add more pink, right? Okay, now I'm going to come up to the center right above my paw on this side. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to go all the way around. I didn't rinse my brush and I didn't add any more paint to it. You can if you want to. I just wanted to keep it pretty light. So you're just going to spin your brush and get that rosy cheek. There we go. So if you just spin it around and keep that white in the middle, it'll be darker on the outside and lighter on the inside, right? And if you feel like it is too dark and you want more white, that's super easy to do. Just put more white on your brush and go back over it. Okay? So we have our rosy cheeks and our ears done. Looking cute. So now we're going to rinse our brush. Now at this point, I'm going to start my flower crown. Okay? But if you don't want to do your flower crown, you can go ahead and start putting your face in. Okay? Or you can just wait a minute. As soon as I'm done with the flower crown, we'll do the face together, right? So we're going to start our flower crown by first switching over to a different brush. We are going to use a round brush for the flowers. Okay? I'm going to use this one here. See how it's long, but it's round? Okay, you can do any size you want. The bigger your brush, the bigger your flower petals will be. Okay, so I'm going to first rinse it in my water to loosen the bristles, wipe it on my napkin, and here we go. This is going to be fun. I love doing these flowers. We first need to do the center of our flowers, and mine are yellow for the center. So I'm going to add a little bit of white to my yellow, just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to figure out where I want the center of my flowers to go. Make sure you have quite a bit of white in there because yellow is translucent. You can see right through it. So you want to make sure you have enough white in your yellow. Okay. Now the center of my flower, my first flower, is right up here in between my ears. So I'm just going to come up here and make myself a dot with my brush. I'm kind of stamping it here, right? I'm going around as I stamp to make a circle, just like that. And don't worry if it's perfect or not. It's not supposed to be a perfect circle, okay? And then our other flowers come right over here on the side of our ear. The dot is right on the side of the ear, just like that. One there. Then I come over here to this side and put it right on the side of my ear, right here. I'm adding those dots first so I can see them, okay? And I'm going to build my flower off of the center. Now I'm going to rinse my brush really good before I switch to my flower color. All right, my flowers are pink, right? And the first thing I want to do is paint my flower with a really light pink. So I'm going to make sure I add white to my pink, mix it in really good here. We want a lot of white for this because you're going to be covering your bunny. And we don't want to see through it, right? Okay, so I've loaded up my brush with this pink. And now we're going to start framing our flower. First thing you want to do is make yourself a rainbow shape. Small rainbows, pretty close together. See that? They can be touching or not touching, but one thing I've found with our artists is it's hard to gauge how close to make your flower if you're not touching. So you can touch your petals together to help. Leave space as you go. We're going to fill it in, don't worry. We're just going to keep going around and around. Okay, keeping that shape as we go. And you can make this as big as you want. We're just going to make that rainbow shape and keep it going all the way around. This is where you get to decide how big you want it, right? If you keep going around like this, it's just obviously going to get bigger and bigger. So you got to know where you want to stop. I'm kind of stopping this flower as I hit my ear right there. It's about as big as I'm going to go. I'm going to go all the way around here. Make sure my petals are getting a little bigger as I go. And you want to give yourself a round shape, right? Okay, kind of like the shape of that one. So now we're going to move on to our next flower and let that dry a minute. You'll come back to it and add another layer. I'm going to make sure my green is covered though. I want to cover up that green. It's okay if some of your white is showing over here. That's perfect. Okay, so once I have my first layer of my flower, I'm going to come over here to my other one and start the same process. You're curving around and making a rainbow all the way around your dots. Okay, we're going to make it bigger. Just keep building off of that. You can get kind of fast at it as you go. You don't have to think too much about it. You just want to keep adding those rainbow shapes and connecting them together. Okay, I'm going to keep rolling until my flower feels big enough. Remember, we're going to add some little flowers in between these two to fill in any negative space. We're going to keep going here. Okay, I kind of like that size. I'm about there. I think I want that one to come out a little more. Okay. And then I'll put a little yellow flower right here in the middle. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to make a little more pink, right? By adding white there. Okay, let's go over here and do this one. Same thing. You're just making that rainbow shape all the way around your flower. And keep building off of it until it feels big enough. You can see you get pretty quick, right? You're just making that rainbow shape all the way around. And this one ends right about here for me. So I'm going to build off of that and make sure it's nice and round the way I want. Okay, now I'm going to fill in any green, right? I'm going to fill in the green, but leave the white. That's a good, easy highlight right there. Okay, so this is the base for our crown. We're going to come back in just a minute. Let's let it dry. Let's let it dry just a second. I'm going to rinse my brush. There we go. Okay, and while I have my pink, we're going to switch our brushes really quick while our flowers are drying a minute. I'm going to switch brushes to my small detail. We're going to use our detail brush to put our eyes in. Okay, while our flowers are drying. So I'm going to come over here and get some black. And remember, whenever we use black, we want to add water because our black gets really tight while it's sitting here. Okay, so be sure to add water to that black, thin it out a little bit, use your detail brush for your eyes. My eyes are closed, right? But if you want, you can add any kind of eyes you want to this, okay? Now we want to go to each side of our rosy cheeks. Your eye is going to end where your rosy cheeks begin. So I'm going to come right here to the middle and figure out where I want my nose, and my eyes are going to come right above that, okay? So I'm going to come right over here, start at the very, very edge of my rosy cheek, and give myself a rainbow shape. Here we go, right up and around. And you can make that shape as big as you want it to be, right? I'm going to come to this side now, start right on the edge, come up and around, just like that. Okay, make sure you have enough paint on your brush to give yourself a smooth stroke, because eyes can be tricky that way. Okay, once you have your eye on, here's the fun part. We get to add our lashes, which I love to add lashes. I'm going to press down here and make a smile shape with my brush. And I have 2 lashes on mine. You can add as many lashes as you want. Okay, I have 1, 2. I'm going to come over here to this side and do the same thing. You're going to do 1 here, 1, and then 1 more right above it, 2. See that? Another fun thing is to come down to the bottom of your lash and make a triangle shape to clean them up a little bit. You can do that if you want to. Okay, so we have our lashes on. Now we're going to add some whiskers. Right, and our whiskers start right here on the edge of our rosy cheeks. I'm going to come right here to the very, very edge of my whisker, very, very tip, and you're going to come straight out away from your rosy cheek, and yours will go right off the canvas. Mine doesn't because my canvas is a lot bigger than yours, right? But you see how I went up at a slant here? My second one is right underneath it, but it goes straight out, just like that. Okay. And then I have another one that goes straight down, just like that, right off your canvas. Okay, then we're gonna come right over here and do the same thing on this side. So I'm gonna start here, the very tip of my rosy cheek, and come straight out, going up at a little bit of an angle. And then our second one is right after that in the middle, goes straight off your canvas. Okay. Then we have another one right below that, and it goes down at an angle. Just like that. Okay, we have our whiskers. Okay. Next, we are going to do our little mouth right here. And we have a nose. It's a pink heart nose that you're gonna put on there. In just a minute. Okay, so I'm gonna come here and put my mouth in first. And you want your mouth to be right above your feet. So it's right here across the top. So I'm gonna come here right between my eyes and make myself a straight line down, just like that. Okay, and then my mouth is gonna be a little bit of a smiley face on each side of my line to connect. One there, and one right there. Okay, one on each side. You want to try and make them close to the same size, but that's really hard to gauge, so just do your best. Right? Looks happy either way. Okay, we're going to add a little nose there in just a minute. Next, we're going to put some paws on our feet. Got paws right here on each side, and our paws curve. See that? They kind of curve a little bit, like you're doing a sideways smiley face on your paws. One on each side. One there, and one there. All right. Our bunny's looking pretty cute, right? Let's rinse our brush really good before we switch colors. And at this point, our flower should be about dry. I think it's about there. All right, but I've rinsed my detail brush really good, super dry, on my napkin. And I'm gonna get some pink on my brush. Let's get some pink and make ourselves a little heart nose. So we're gonna come right here to the middle and shape a heart. Now you can do a circle too if you want. You don't have to do a heart. You could do a little circle nose too. That's just as cute. Okay, but I'm gonna do a little heart nose. And I did a little bit of a darker pink because I wanted it to stand out. Okay, so we have our little nose on there. All right, let's let that bunny sit there for a minute and dry while we go back to our flowers. So we have some stuff to do, right? So let's go back to our round brush. Make sure it's really clean, really cleaned up. I'm not gonna worry about the center of my flowers right now. We're just going to get the rest of our flower on. And the way we're gonna do this is take our round brush. You could even do this with a small flat brush if you have it. You're doing the same thing. But I'm going to put pink on my brush, just like this. Load it up with your pink. And I'm gonna dip the very tip of it in some white, just like that, okay? And now I'm gonna start from the outside of my flower and work in. So I'm gonna go around the edges And do you see how you can see the white showing up and the pink, right? That's what we want. We want the different shades, okay? So I'm just gonna work my way around this flower, letting those shades show up wherever they want. And I'm not gonna get too picky about it because it lands different every time you do it. Okay, we're gonna work our way in, going all the way around my flower, making my petals bigger or smaller, depending on what I like best as I go. Okay, got our outside ones. Keep dipping your brush, work your way in. There we go. You want to keep adding the white to your flower and let those strokes show up. Working my way all the way in to the center. Looking kind of pretty. Keeping those highlights showing up. Okay, if you have thick paint in there anywhere, that's awesome. You can just leave it. Okay. Now we're going to go over here to this one. Do the same thing. Start on the outside, just like that, and work your way in. All the way around. Make sure you have that pink and white on your brush so you get different layers of paint as you go, different blends. And I'm working from the outside, coming in, so that all of my petals lay on top of each other and kind of show up. We're going to add more to the center in a minute, so you don't need to worry too much about that. Okay, so now let's do our last flower. We're starting on the edge, working our way in, leaving all of those strokes. Make sure you get enough pink on your brush too, so it'll show up. Our white can take over really fast. Okay, I'm going to come over here and keep building on it. Keep going around. As we go. Almost to the center. All right. Leave that alone. All right, I'm going to add a little more purple to these bottom ones here. Or pink, I mean. We're adding pink, not purple. Okay, make sure you have the layer you want because we're going to be done with these flowers. We're going to leave them alone and let those highlights just show. So it makes it so fun. It's different every time you do it. Okay, there's our pretty flowers. Okay, let's let those flowers dry for just a minute. I'm gonna rinse my brush really good. Okay, my brush is all cleaned, ready to go. Okay, and while we let our flowers just sit for just a minute and dry, I'm gonna go back to my detail brush. Remember our little detail brush here? Okay, I'm gonna go back to my detail brush and we're going to put some black on it. Just a little bit, and we're gonna do a little bit of outlining on our bunny, just to help our bunny pop. Not everything is outlined. We just have a little bit of outlining, okay? So I'm gonna follow my ears up for just a little bit and let it fade out. See that? And I'm going to outline just the inside of the ear a little bit too. You want to just carefully press, not too hard. But if your lines are thicker than mine, that's okay. It totally depends on how hard you're pressing with your brush. All of us press differently when we're outlining. It just takes practice. So I'm going to just do a little bit on my ear and come over here to my head. Outline a little bit of my head. Come all the way down to my paw and do some outlining there. Okay. Then I'm just going to outline the inside of my paw here. All the way around. It just cleans it up and helps it pop next to our bunny. We're going to come over to the other side here of our paw and outline a little bit and let it fade out. And if you want to, you can add some on the other side as well. But it's just a little bit, just enough to show it off. Okay, I'm going to come over to this side of our head, add some outline there. You can paint right over your whiskers because it's not even going to show. That's perfectly okay. Okay. Make sure your black paint is staying nice and thin. If you need to add more water to it, go for it. Okay, I'm going to come over here to the other side of my ear, right here, and we're just going to add a little bit of an outline to the ear, straight up, and let it fade out as you go around. Okay, now we're going to go to this side of our ear and do the same thing. Just going to outline a little bit, let it fade right off your canvas. I'm going to outline a little bit of the inside of my ear too, just to draw some attention to the center. Let it fade out. Okay, and let's just outline the very top of that curve, come down a little bit. Let that be. And along the top of our, oops, I got a clump there. Make sure you don't have clumps on the very tip of your brush. That'll give you a really thick line. Okay, there we go. So we have our ears outlined. Okay, and now with our flower, I like to just outline a little bit of it here while I'm at it. Just some of it. Here we go. Just to show off the very top of those flower petals against our green. Okay, and we'll have a little bit over here in this ear too. Just kind of helps pull it together. You can add these little outlines anywhere you like, but it kind of helps show off our petals. Okay, we're going to put some over here. But you see I'm not outlining all of them, just some of them. Okay, just keep it kind of random. I'm going to go over here and do some of these. All right, the reason I haven't done my yellow flowers yet is I want to make sure my pink flowers are dry. And those yellow flowers are super fast. You're going to have fun doing those. So we just want to make sure we get our outlining done and that these pink flowers have a minute to dry. You can even outline some of your center flowers too, or petals on your flower too if you want. Okay. Just an extra little detail if you want to. All right. I like it. I'm going to add one more though. I forgot to do one down here on the bottom. We're going to add a little outline there. Okay. So that it balances our flowers. All right, guys. You ready to do your yellow flowers? We're almost done. This is our finish work. So we're going to go ahead and do our yellow flowers now. I'm going to set my detail brush aside and go back to my round brush. So if you have a medium round brush, that's perfect. That's what you want right now. We want to use it. Okay, now the trick with these yellow flowers is to add a lot of yellow. You can always go, or not yellow, but white. Add a lot of white. You can always go back and put more yellow on top of them later if you want it darker. But you really want to start with a lot of yellow, okay? Or a lot of white with your yellow. I'm struggling with that. There we go. So now we have our round brush loaded, okay? And you just got to decide, where do you want your yellow flowers? I have 4 of them. I fill the space with my yellow flowers. Okay, now first we want to start by getting our center. So we have the center of our flower right here. I'm going to put mine right there on the edge of my flower, pink flower, and I'm just going to pull away and press down. See that petal? It's kind of amazing and fun how easy that is. You just point and pull away and press as you go. Point and pull away. Okay? You're going to go all the way in a circle. Press, pull away. And the thing with these flowers is I like to let the paint be thick on them. That is perfectly okay. If your edges aren't round, I like to just take the very tip of my brush and round it out while I'm at it, if you are worried about that. Okay? I like the imperfections though of these yellow flowers. They don't have to be perfect. Okay, now I'm going to do a center one right here. Get your dot. Make sure you know where you want your dot to be. And let's pull away and press. Press. Start from your dot, pull away and press down. Okay, pull away and press. And we're going to try and get 5 petals on these yellow flowers. Pull and press. Press it down. Okay. There we go. Looking good. We're going to come back to them in a minute, so just let them be. Okay, let's do another one. We have one right here. In between these flowers, I'm making my center. I'm going to start from the center, right? We're going to pull and press down. So pull from the center and press with your brush. If you don't have a round brush like this, you can use your detail brush to just shape your petals. That is okay too. And you can make these as big as you want, and you can do as many as you want. You don't have to do it just like Miss Sarah's. We love to see what you come up with. So if you want to change it up, go for it, okay? We're going to go all the way around there. Make sure you love your petals. Okay, we have one more right here. And it's on the edge of this flower. So I make my center. We do the same thing. Kind of spin your brush on your plate like this before you start. If you have a round brush, if you spin it, you'll get a better point on it. Okay, so I'm going to pull from the center and press. Pull and press. I'm going to go all the way around. Press. Okay, pull and press. You see you have your green right here, so you're going to want more paint on that one. Make sure it's fully covered. And then one more. Pull and press. Right there. And there you have it. There's the base of your flowers. And while they're drying for a second, I want you to take some yellow on your round brush like this. And we're going to go to the center of our flowers over here. Just make sure they get nice and covered. And you don't have to have a perfect circle on these flowers in the center. We love the imperfections of them, right? Some are small, some are big. You just want to fill it in, okay? With that yellow. Just keep stamping away. Stamp, stamp, stamp. And then I like to put some white on the very tip of my brush like that. Go back in there and add some white to the center as a highlight. See the little white on the tip of my brush there? Just stamp those in. Stamp, stamp, stamp. And one thing you can do too is add the white to the very tip of your brush here. And if you want to, you can add the highlights to your flowers. If you feel like you want a little more white in your flowers anywhere, just put it on the very tip of your brush and add that in too. Okay. All right, I'm gonna rinse my brush now. I'm rinsing my brush out really good. We're giving our yellow flowers a second to dry. Okay. I'm just going to add a couple of these little highlights in my flower. Make sure my petals are being shown off. Anywhere you like. It can be pretty random. Got a couple here. Okay. All right. We're about done, you guys. Once those yellow flowers dry a little more, we're gonna finish them up. And you're gonna have finished your cute bunny. Make sure you have that enough yellow in the center. Okay. Now that my flowers have had a minute to dry, I'm just gonna put yellow on my brush, just the yellow. I'm gonna go right back over my flowers. Make sure that they're really yellow the way I want. You can do this pretty quick because now you already have the shape of your flower. So you're just gonna pull and press and make sure you have them nice and yellow. And you notice you can't see the center anymore, right? Because our center is not yellow. You just haven't done it yet. So to make sure your flowers are good and yellow and covered. And sometimes you need one more layer to do that because our yellow is very translucent, right? So let's just make sure you have it good and covered there. Okay, let's let it sit for a minute. I'm going to show you a fun thing to do here to finish up your crown. I want you to grab either your medium flat or your big flat. Okay, either one works. Make sure it's wet. And we're gonna put a little bit of purple on the very corner of your brush, like this. We're gonna put a shadow under our crown, okay? So you're gonna come right here underneath your flower and follow it around, see that? You just wanna kind of have your flat brush follow your petals with that purple facing up. And it doesn't have to be super noticeable. It's just light enough that you get that shading under your crown. Isn't that pretty? I love it. So I'm going to add it. And so any color you do your bunny, you can add this shading to your brush and add a little bit of a shadow underneath. It just finishes off that head and the crown. It makes it look less flat, right? Gives it some dimension. Okay, and while I have my big brush in my hand, I'm gonna flip it around just like this, and we're gonna make a chocolate chip with our black. We love chocolate chips. It makes this process really easy. So I've got a chocolate chip here. Make sure it's got enough paint on your brush. Okay, and we're gonna add a center to our flowers by pressing down. See that? Easy center. I'm gonna go to all of our yellow flowers and add that center to it. The more paint you have on your on the back of your brush, the bigger your dot will be. So you get to decide how big you want it to be. All right, there it is. Okay, let's add our highlights and maybe some outlining if you want to some of your flowers. I didn't really outline a whole lot on my yellow flowers. I did a little bit just to help show it off, but this is totally optional, okay? You can add some outlining to your flowers like this with your detail brush if you want to. But if you like your flowers just the way they are, it's best to leave it. This just finishes up if you like. So I'm gonna go around a couple of my petals, all the way around the edges. Okay. And now let's flip that brush around, get a little bit of white on the back of it, just like that. And you can add a little bit of white to your black dot, just right there next to it, to give it a little bit of light to the center of your flower. Okay, you guys, you're all done. It's super cute. We want to see them, so make sure you tag us and send us your beautiful work. One last thing before you go. As artists, we're really proud of what we just did, right? We worked hard and we created a masterpiece, so we're going to sign it. We sign our work. Find a special place. I love to sign next to my character, or you can find some negative space, or you can hide your signature. But one thing to always keep in mind is to use a small brush, small detail brush with your favorite color. Let's see, where am I gonna sign it? I think I'm gonna sign it right here next to my paw. Okay, so put your name on there, just like that. And good job, you guys. There's your cute Easter bunny. Hope you had as much fun as I did. We hope to see you really soon in our studio. Until then, keep painting. We'll see you later.